Coming up, are these watches just for Gundam fans? Let's find out. Hello and welcome back to Automatic Reviews, I'm Mark. This week's review is of two watches, the Welly Merck Zaku 2 MS-06F and the Char Zaku 2 MS-06S. But before we get to that, I'd just like to let you know that I put up videos every week and my goal is to focus on the best watches at all price ranges. If that sounds good to you, then consider hitting that subscribe button. And while you're at it, tap that little bell icon too so you can be notified each week when my latest video goes up. This week's video is sponsored, not by the maker of these watches, but by an online shop called Risenty. They specialize in anime, comic, and gaming-themed electronics, gadgets, and watches too. There's a promo code this week to save 20%. It's Automatic Reviews, all caps, no spaces. I'll post that in the description along with a link to their website. However, sponsored or not, as usual, I'll always tell you what I really think. Alright, now let's take a look at these watches. Here's a look at the unboxing of these watches. First up, let's have a look at the cover art. We have the green watch based on the Xeon mass-produced Zaku 2 mobile suit, which you can see here nicely printed on the cover. And we have the red watch representing Char Zaku, the special Zaku 2 suit piloted by the infamous Xeon antihero Char Aznable. These are designed as collector sets, so there are a lot of nice touches here with the outer packaging and some of the contents. Sliding off the outer sleeve, we have the inner box. It's actually intricately embossed and foil printed. It's a decently impressive presentation. Popping off the top, we find the watch wrapped completely in plastic and secured to a pretty premium feeling pillow. Let's just get the plastic and tags off quickly. And there we go. Let's have a look at the extras. There are a few really cool things included. Firstly, we have two really nice quality enamel pins per set. In the green MS-06F set, one pin is a Xeon badge with the Zaku 2 model number, and the other is the head of the Zaku 2 mobile suit. In the red MS-06S set, one is a Char Aznable badge, and the other is Char Zaku's head. I love these pins and will definitely find somewhere to display them. The next part is really unusual. Included with each watch is a Zaku 2 LED lamp. They look really cool and it's a nice touch that really completes the collector set vibe. Additionally included is a bracelet resizing tool. Besides that, both watches come with instructions in both Chinese and English, but I should note that some instructions are only in Chinese, so for many that will mean using a translator app like Google Translate. These watches have a 1-year warranty. Before we continue, I want to address a couple of issues I had with the Char Zaku set. Firstly, it came with some damage to the integrity of the inner structure of the box, which presumably occurred during shipping. Secondly, the included lamp actually had a defect which distorted the surface of the plastic. The watch itself was unaffected, but as a collector set, this is something I had to address. While this was disappointing, there was a silver lining. These come factory sealed, so the QC oversight was the responsibility of Welly Merck, but when I reached out to today's sponsor, Risenty, they were concerned and offered to replace the damaged parts immediately. And they told me they understood and respected that I needed to be transparent with my audience about the issues. This is exactly what I want to see from a sponsor. They have earned a lot of respect from me. Crucially, the watches came intact and are also really cool, which you'll see in a moment, but also important is the company that you might buy them from offers customer support and is honest, and that means a lot. The 360 stainless steel cases of these watches are black-toned and mostly brushed with some polished accents. This watch is 42.5 millimeters across and 12 millimeters thick. It's 46.1 millimeters lug to lug, but including the male end links, it's closer to 50 millimeters. And it has a lug width of 20 millimeters. On the side of the cases, there are really nice identification engravings with the model numbers corresponding to the version of Zaku 2 the watch is based on. These watches feature screw-down mineral glass display casebacks adorned with printed Zaku 2 designs. The standard Zaku 2 and Char Zaku. There is a signed push-pull crown, featuring a colored accent matching each watch's color scheme. Powering the watches here is the Miyota 82S7 movement, which ticks away at 21,600 beats per hour and has a 42-hour power reserve. It also features a 24-hour subdial and a partial skeletonization in the form of an open heart design. Here's a quick lume shot. These watches feature two-tone lume. The MS-06F dial is a rich, deep shade of green, and the MS-06S dial is a bold shade of red. Both dials have sunburst finishes. The dials are actually pretty complex with multiple layers and details, like the cutaway portions revealing textured black areas evoking the gaps in the unit's armor along the joints. Additionally, there is panel line etching, also mimicking the details found on Gundam. The indices are loomed circles mounted to an applied chapter ring. The hour and minute hands are unique loomed sword shapes. and the seconds hand is painted and circulates around a cool-looking small seconds subdial. The dial text is neatly printed, and the Xeon emblem is nicely applied. Covering all this up is a sapphire crystal with an AR coating. Surrounding the dial is a bezel featuring small circular divots corresponding to the hour markers. Water resistance is 100 meters. The bracelets are steel black-tone tapering oyster-style designs with solid end links. Adjustments are accomplished via a pin-based system. There are 2 half links. The clasps are butterfly style and signed. Just a note, leather strap versions are also available. Check on Risenty's site for more details. Here are the watches on my flat profile 7-inch wrist. Adjusted for me, they weigh 135 grams. The retail on these is around 400 Canadian or about $290 US, but they can for sure be found at a discount, like on this week's sponsor's website where they're currently on sale and can be had for 20% off using that promo code Automatic Reviews. Also worth noting is that the Risenty website has a lot of ways to save, like sales, promotions, daily deals, and instant discounts, so you might want to check that out. Alright, now let's have a look at what you get for your money. These watches have lume, but just barely. The lume starts off dim and fades fast. I'm not a lume obsessive, but I do prefer when a watch has at least decent lume, or just no lume at all. So this is a low. The bracelet here looks pretty nice, but it has no micro adjust because of the butterfly clasp, and it's of middling quality. I'd consider just picking up the leather strap versions, or maybe try the steel version and see if you like the fit, and if not, you can always switch to a rubber strap like I did. I think it looks absolutely stellar, and it's so comfortable. I've seen criticism online about the Welly Merck brand name, and I get it. I'm not a huge fan of it myself, and I do think they made a strange choice to feature it so prominently here. But you know what? The name is kind of a perfect fit within the world of Gundam. Welly Merck reminds me of some mysterious, oddly named corporate entity that would produce weapons on government contract in that universe. So for me it works here, but since some people will still dislike it, it's a mid. The black finish will likely wear with time, especially on the bracelet, and that will bother some. But in my view, it's not such a bad thing. I kind of like when black bracelets develop silver highlights along the edges with heavy wear. It kind of reminds me of battle damage on a mech suit, so again, it's kind of on theme. I think given the complexity of the construction on display here, the fact that it's a licensed IP, and because it comes as a collector's set, the full asking price isn't out of order, but I'll list value here as a mid as a means to emphasize to you to get these on sale. Good deal or not, when a watch is on sale, and these are often on sale, that's always better. That's more money left over to buy more watches. The extras were a really nice touch. Not a reason to buy the watches, and this is a watch review, but that said, I really like those enamel pins in particular. Great job. The movements are keeping really great time and seem to have been regulated. I'm pretty impressed. Sometimes watches that ship with Miyota or Seiko movements arrive in need of regulation. That's not the case here. The Gundam mech suit theme here is really well executed. There are tons of details and touches to show that some effort was put into it. I'm not normally a huge fan of 24-hour subdials, or even open heart designs just for the sake of having an open heart design. But here, both of those features really sing as part of an overall fantasy industrial aesthetic. I also really like the little arrow held in place with a screw, and all of the Gundam-inspired design cues which they painstakingly incorporated into the dial, like the gaps, the panel lines, and the Xeon emblem. Such a cool watch. The dial colors here really stand out. I find myself preferring the red, but both are stunning shades that don't look gaudy in any way. I actually think these watches are quite gorgeous. I think there's a cool factor here, certainly for anyone into the Gundam theme, but also overall when I look at these watches, I find myself really appreciating that despite how different and bold they look, the design remains cohesive. I'm personally going to keep these watches in circulation. They bring me joy. So, I started with a question. Are these watches just for Gundam fans? My answer is no. As a fan, I might be a bit biased, but in my view, I feel like the mech aesthetic just might make them generally appealing to fans of similar IP like Transformers or Evangelion, as well as people who like machinery or mechanical-looking things overall. They're very detailed and quite nicely finished. However, if you are a Gundam fan, there's even more to love here. The watches nail the theme, and the included extras are a nice addition as well. I think the asking price isn't outrageous, but given that there are always sales and ways to save, that's the way to go. So overall, I do think these watches are really cool and maybe even a must-buy for Gundam fans. If you like the look of these watches, I would recommend checking them out, but do make sure you're getting a deal. So, what do you guys think? Do you like these watches? Do you want one? Do you already have one? Let me know about your experiences with it. How do you feel about heavily themed watches? Are they fun, or do you prefer a more conservative look? Finally, would you choose the green or the red? I want to hear about it, guys. Leave a comment below. All right, that's it. That's all. Remember to check the description for any relevant links and details like where to find this week's sponsor, Risenty's website, and the promo code. Till next week, bye-bye.